All righty, I would like to call the Muhlenberg Township Board of Commissioners for Tuesday, February 17, 2026 to order. If you all please rise for a pledge of allegiance and please remain standing for a memorial moment for several folks that I'll read off.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and we'll have a memorial moment for Commissioner Rick Hoffmaster, who passed away on January 20th. For Gina Cerulli, who passed away on January 29th. Gina was the grandmother of Commissioner Dylan Cerulli. For Walter Lasoto, passed away on January 30th. Walter was the father of Planning Commissioner member Walt Lasoto. For Paul Jansen, who passed away January 7th. Paul was a former executive director of the Center for Excellence in Local Government. And for Marcella Shumillo, who passed away on January 6th. Marcella was the mother of Arts Board member Kathy Felger. Thank you. Before we get into our public hearings, and I turn it over to our solicitor, Ms. Plank, we do have a couple of presentations. I know Representative Rustine, I did see her here somewhere. I'd like to thank you for coming. Representative, if you'd like to come up, and I see some members of the Hoffmaster family, if they'd like to also join. Representative Rustock, I see Senator Schwank, I just seen her. If she'd like to come up also, to present some citations to the family.
Dress with the microphone, without the microphone, how would you like to have it?
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, good Lord, we're not for this, so. Anyway, I would just like to thank the Muhlenberg Township Board of Commissioners. And for the audience, this evening for allowing us to take a moment, just to recognize one of our former township commissioners, Richard Hoffmaster. I have a bunch of citations for the family, and I have one for the township that I would like you to have. But I just wanted to take a moment at a public meeting, to honor a man who absolutely was committed to this township and committed to all of the people that call Muhlenberg home. He absolutely loved this place. He lived here for over 30 years. And I had the opportunity to get to know him years ago. And he has just been a constant, a steady for anybody here that's in Muhlenberg Township. And I got to know him over 28 years ago now, because Rick was a school board member for 28 years for the Muhlenberg School Board. And he also sat on the Reading Muhlenberg Career and Technology Joint Committee as well. And Rick was always very keenly focused on the students and what opportunities we could provide for them, bless you, all while keeping in mind the impact that it would make on our community. And I got to know Rick through his capacity as a state representative, yeah, you're welcome, Rick, as a school board member. And I remember coming home one night after being at a school board meeting where Rick had been quite vocal and talking about it with my parents. And I remember sitting and talking with my dad, and he saying to me, Jacqueline, Rick Hoffmaster is a good man. And My dad is a man of very few words. And I've always respected him, and I've always respected his opinion. And I think back to that evening and I think no truer words were ever spoken because Rick truly is a good man. And we here in the township have lost an amazing person and an amazing advocate. But I wanted just to take a moment to recognize him, recognize all of his efforts and everything that he's given back to the community. I know that he loved his time as a school board member, 28 years. Holy mackerel, that's, my daughter's 28 years. That is a lifetime right there. But what I truly know is that Rick loved his time being a commissioner, even though it was short. Anytime he talked about it, his face just lit up. He smiled. He was like, Jacqueline, I can do so much more as a township commissioner. I wish I would have done this sooner. I wish I would have made this leap sooner. But I believe things happen for a reason and the universe works in mysterious ways, and we needed him on our school board for those 28 years. And it's given me goosebumps to talk about it now, but I am so proud of him and what he was able to accomplish, and I'm proud that he was able to make this leap to township commissioner, because that's what was truly making him happy, and he knew that he could make an amazing impact on the people who live here in this community. So I just want to take a moment to I have a few citations because the family is large, and I wanted to make sure that everybody was had the opportunity to have one of these citations, but this is the citation here. And it is just a way for us to honor the life and legacy of your father. Bob, I know you're in the back, of your brother. For all the people that are in this room that have come in contact with Rick over the years, as a friend, as a coworker, as a colleague. This citation, I would like to leave it here, in the township building, in remembrance of Rick and everything that he's done for the community. And just to recognize all his lasting contributions and know that he may not be here physically, but he is here in spirit, and all of the things that he's done for all of the people in this community will go on long after Rick has, passed on to where he's gone. So I just would like to present this citation to the township commissioners, and then I have other citations that I would like to present to the family as well. So just wanted to say, I'm so sorry for your loss. We all feel it here in the township, but he was an amazing mentor, and we will all pick up where he left off and do the best we can to keep pushing, Muhlenberg Township forward. So thank you, Stacy, and Matt. Yeah. And that is from the House of Representatives, from myself, and from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And the same for you, Matt. All right. You stay up here? Thank you.
Well said, Representative, very well said, and I can tell from all of the heartfelt things that you said, how much you appreciated Rick and that relationship that you had. You grew up in this township, and so you're just a part of this family, and I just could hear that in your voice, and so appreciate the way that you expressed that. There's a book called Bowling Alone, maybe a few of you have heard of it, and it's a book about the fact that people today aren't contributing to their communities. They're not volunteering. Things like bowling leagues or church associations or athletic associations or authorities or school boards, all of those kinds of things that make our communities tick. People aren't doing it. The younger generation isn't doing that as much as they used to. Somebody forgot to tell Rick Hoffmeister the memo because I just looking over all of the things that he did, he just went from level to level to level. And I think, and maybe, both of you can say, and Rick can say, that's what made him tick. He found something, a purpose, something that he really loved, and that he couldn't get enough of it. Maybe he wasn't even home a lot. I can imagine not, because he was always so engaged and involved in everything. And he was sincere. Rick was always sincere about it. It wasn't about winning an election. It wasn't about, going to a fancy dinner. Sometimes when you're on these commissions or associations, you get invited to things and, it feels good. You're like an important person. That wasn't Rick. That wasn't what he was about. I can remember him calling me and saying, Judy, come to this. I want to show our firefighters, some appreciation when they had an event over at the stadium, a game and so forth. He would always reach out for someone else to try to show, to express the gratitude that he had for the people who did the work as well. And I'll note too, I had many discussions with him about the school board and about, some of the school board finances and some of the projects and things that were coming forward. And some of this stuff didn't always sit well with taxpayers. I know that, but I think Rick knew that too. And he faced everybody. He talked to anybody who would ask him about that, but he did what was right for the students. He always stood up for what was the right thing to do for the community. So I too am here on behalf of myself, as well as the Senate of Pennsylvania, and I also have a citation of one. I didn't know to bring multiple copies, but I will certainly make sure that they get sent out to all of you. I'll present it to you, Stacy, and then Matt, I'll make sure you get one, as well as your mom, your grandmother, and Rick, you as well. This is the changing of the guard in many ways. And I think we all see it and kind of feel it when people like this are gone. They're not easily replaced in any way. We have a great board of commissioners. I know that. I live in this building. But nevertheless, it's somebody like Rick they're not making a lot of him. And he will always, always be fondly remembered for all that he has done. Maybe, this helps in a way to know that the whole community shows up to say thank you for all the things that he has done. Much appreciated, and my condolences. Here you go. This from the Senate.
You can't go anywhere yet. I got one more I have one more to present from, Berks County Commissioner Dante Santoni. Dante could not be here tonight, but, he wanted me to offer this. So I'll just read it, and, it's a little unique because I sat in his office with Rick when they asked me to run 22 years ago. So it's, a little emotional for me. So, 22 years ago, together here. This certificate is presented in grateful recognition. The life service. I'm struggling here. That's it. Okay. An unwavering dedication of Richard Rick Hoffmaster, decades of commitment, strengthened the Muhlenberg Township community, and left a lasting legacy of integrity, leadership, and strong character. For decades, Rick devoted himself to Muhlenberg Township, serving 28 years on the school board, 20 years at the Red Muhlenberg Career and Tech Center board. Excuse me, my daughters will be making fun of me on YouTube. Thank you so much. But, his leadership, steady presence, and commitment to doing what was right helped shape the community he cared so deeply for. Beyond his public service, Rick was a proud supporter of local organizations, labor, youth athletics, and township initiatives. His impact will be felt for generations. So with this. blame it on it.
Thank
Thank you. Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for letting us do
you.
this.
Thank you. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah.
Thanks, everyone. At this time, I'm gonna turn it over to our solicitor, Ms. Frank.
Good evening, everyone. This is the time and place that's been advertised for a hearing regarding the vacation of a portion of Lincoln Avenue. Request for the vacation of a portion of Lincoln Street was made on behalf of CFD Properties LLC by attorney Steve. And I see that attorney Buck is in the attendance this evening. Are you entering your appearance this evening?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm gonna introduce some exhibits for the record to start. And then I'll turn it over to Attorney Buck for his presentation. Exhibit B1 is a letter dated December 16th, 2025, from Attorney Buck requesting the vacation of a portion of Lincoln Street. Exhibit B2 is proof of publication of the notice of the street vacation, hearing and potential enactment of street vacation ordinance with publishing occurring in the Reading Eagle on February 1st, 2026 and February 8th of 2026. B3 is the affidavit of mailing of the notice of the street vacation hearing and potential enactment of the street vacation ordinance to affected property owners. And B4 is the proposed street vacation ordinance. Does anyone have any objections? The exhibits are now entered of record, and now I'll turn it over to Attorney Buck to fill the board in on the request.
Thank you, Cole. Good evening, Steve Buck and Stephen Lee, here on behalf of CFD Properties and Clover Farms Dairy. CFD Properties, the Clover Farms Dairy, they're affiliates. CFD is the owner of the Clover Farms Dairy property where the operations are. And the request, Lincoln Avenue right now is a township road, but it basically acts as a driveway. It's solely within the Clover Farms Dairy property. Clover Farms properties on both sides of it. And Clover Farms is looking to make some improvements in that area to put some stone down and increase the area of the parking lot a little bit. Because right now, for the main reason, they lease property across the road from Bob Fisher where they put a lot of their trucks right now. And given how busy that road has been getting, it makes no sense to have to keep coming back and forth. And with Lincoln Avenue being a public road, Clover Farms can't do anything in that area of the property. And again, they own both sides of it. They want to make improvements to it for safety and other reasons. And it just doesn't make any sense for the township to continue with the responsibility and the liability of having that small piece of Lincoln Avenue. It's roughly, I think the ordinance, it's roughly 0.05 of an acre of land. And it just would make a heck of a lot more sense to have Clover Farms own that piece, take care of it, be responsible for it, and be able to use that as its property and to make some minor improvements so that they can use it for their truck parking and storage areas. And obviously, they know they need to come back to the township for any improvements that they wanted to make to that area. And Nicole, I know there's one issue. Do you want me to bring that up or?
Go ahead and bring it up.
Okay, there one issue out there, there's a water line that runs through Lincoln Avenue. And so this ordinance, if the township does vacate Lincoln Avenue, Clover Farms will have to grant an easement to the water authority to allow for the continued access to that water line, which Clover Farms is fine with. Whatever the authority puts in front of us, we'll sign and get that done. So we're fine with the vacation ordinance being subject to that obligation.
Okay, sorry.
I'm sorry, so I was just gonna say, on behalf of Clover Farms and CFD Properties, we respectfully request that the township consider vacating Lincoln Avenue and allowing the road to be owned on either side by CFD Properties.
Does the board have any questions?
No.
I have one more item that does need to be addressed. There does need to be a survey performed as well pursuant to section 57007 of the first class township code. So, it would be my recommendation that, that also be part of your proposal that you're proposing to the board tonight, that you obtain the easement as well as perform that survey for the passing of the ordinance, prior to them passing the ordinance.
Okay, is that survey for the authority, or are you saying the survey of the portion of the road to be vacated?
Just the portion of the road to be vacated, it needs to
Got it.
have a survey.
Got it, okay,
Do you have any other witnesses for the applicant?
we do not,
Do you have any exhibits that you'd like to,
we do not.
are there any objections from anybody on the board? Does anyone from the public want to make comment regarding this application at this time? Senator Swank.
It might be a little out of order here as I'm not a township resident. However, I was at Clover Farms Dairy today. The state has given Clover Farms $500,000 innovation grant to help improve the facility. A lot of good things. We had a full tour of the building. A lot of good things are going on in there. They are improving their packaging. They are going to be able to serve more customers. They're looking at even new products to help meet the demand for milk and, like lactose-free and things of that nature. I would highly support this because I know when we took the tour, they showed us portions of the parking lot where they're going to need to expand. They want to put in a blow plant so that they can actually make their own plastic jugs, and also an ammonia facility for cooling and for other sanitizing purposes. They're really doing a lot of great things there, and I just couldn't help myself but come up and say, you really ought to support this. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Schwank. And does anyone else from the public wish to comment at this time? Let the record reflect there were no other parties that would like to speak. So at this point, the board, does the board want to recess to discuss?
I don't believe so.
So at this point, does any board member want to make a motion granting the street vacation request and to enact the proposed ordinance subject to the right-of-way and easement agreement being executed and recorded, and subject to the township receiving the street survey as required by the code?
So moved.
Second. Any further questions or comments?
My only comment to the public is the only thing the township technically loses here is some liquid fuels money, but I mean, this road isn't that long and we're not really losing anything at all. And in my opinion, it is something that we can do first to benefit the dairy. That's a good thing because they've been in the township for many years. And the second thing is pointed out, for public safety, I'm going up 61 and I watch tractor trailers go back and forth, and I would not want to try to move a tractor trailer across the highway. And I certainly didn't like driving on the highway and somebody's trying to cross, at an intersection that's not even signaled there. So, I see no downside to this at all.
Thank you, Commissioner. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any? The ayes have it, so moved.
I turn it back once you have the easement and the survey prepared, they can eventually find our farm, and then the ordinance will be recorded at that time.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mudd. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
So that will conclude the first hearing that we have for this evening. Do I have a motion to adjourn the street vacation hearing?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We will move on to the second hearing of the evening. This is the time and place advertised for a conditional use hearing of North Reading Plaza Investors LP, concerning property located at 5370 Allentown Pike, Temple, Pennsylvania, 19560 in Muhlenberg Township, requesting conditional use pursuant to section 355-23C6 to permit a commercial recreational use on the property, which includes a gym located within the C2 Shopping Center Commercial District. I see Attorney Farrell is here, present for the applicant. Are you entering your appearance?
I am, yes, thank you.
Let the record reflect. Procedure for all those in the audience this evening. The applicant will present its case in form of evidence and testimony. The board will then be able to ask questions of the applicant. Members of the public will be able to voice their opinion. The hearing is being recorded by a court reporter, so ask anyone speaking to speak slowly and clearly and avoid interrupting anyone else who may be speaking. The public members who get to participate, you have to, in order to be named a party status, you have to be able to show that you have a direct and substantial and immediate interest in this case if you want to be able to join this case. As a party, if you are so deemed, you have a right to ask the applicant questions and to present your own testimony and evidence. You also have appellate rights if you disagree with this board's ultimate decision. So with that being said, does anyone from the public want to be named as a party of interest in this matter this evening? Let the record reflect, there are none. We will enter the exhibits at this time, and Attorney Farrell, I do have a packet for you as well, if you would like a packet.
Save me some writing.
There we go. You're welcome. For this hearing, B1 is the conditional use application submitted to the township by the applicant dated January 26th of 2026 with exhibits and an addendum A. B2 is the proof of publication of the notice of the conditional use hearing. B3 is the affidavit of posting of the notice of the conditional hearing. B4 is the affidavit of mailing of the notice to affected property owners. B5 is the township zoning ordinance, which has not been provided, but we will make it as a B5 for the record. Does anyone have any objections to the exhibits as I have read them to present for this evening? Hearing none, the exhibits are now entered. I'll now turn this over to Attorney Farrell to present the applicant's case.
Good evening, everyone. Amy Farrell with Kaplan Stewart. We are, as your solicitor indicated, the attorneys for the applicant in this matter. This is a fairly straightforward conditional use request to infill a portion of the existing shopping center at North Reading Plaza with a Planet Fitness gymnasium. I do have a witness with me this evening. I know you have a busy agenda, so I will leave it to the board. I'm happy to do this in summary form and call her simply to confirm details, or we can do it in a more traditional question and answer, your choice.
As long as you can outline how you meet the code.
Yep.
Whatever form you'd like.
Perfect, okay. If we can save a little bit of time for everybody that way, I can summarize it for you and I'll call her just to confirm. I do have an exhibit packet for you. Yeah, hopefully we'll make this a little bit simpler. As I indicated, I do have a witness with me this evening, Andrea Brigante, who is the property manager for the property owners in this matter. If I were to call her on direct, she would be providing you the testimony in a more traditional Q&A format, similar to the summary testimony that I'm about to provide you this evening. And again, I will have her confirm at the end. We'll get her sworn to confirm that that is all accurate. I have handed out to you all pre-marked exhibit packets, tabs 1 through 6. A couple of these are duplicative of exhibits that were just entered as board exhibits, but We're never sure which boards are going to enter what, so bear with me there. A few of these are, as I said, duplicative. A1 is simply the zoning application and the addendum that were submitted for record. A2 is the deed showing proof of standing with respect to this property. The bulk of Ms. Briganti's testimony would begin at tab 3 of the exhibit packets, which is an aerial of the property. Ms. Briganti would confirm for you that the property is located at 5370 Allentown Pike, that it is an approximately 18.6 acre parcel, which together with adjoining parcels makes up the North Reading Shopping Center. It is zoned C2 Shopping Center Commercial District. And as I said, is a series of actually 3 individual parcels. The first of which is the about 180,600 square foot primary building, which is a mix of retail and commercial tenants, which has a large parking field of approximately 558 parking spaces. Also a part of that primary property is the McDonald's pad site that has a 3,400 square foot McDonald's on it and its own 37 parking spaces. The Tractor Supply, which you also see on that plan, is its own parcel, but is part of the shopping center. That has its own 81 space parking field. And then again, the adjoining Walmart is on its own parcel, primary parking field of around 900 parking spaces. The totality of those 4 buildings and those 3 properties make up the North Reading Plaza Shopping Center. And through a series of cross-access easements, parking easements, utility easements, et cetera, they all function as one center. Ms. Briganti would also confirm for you that as you see on tab 3, there are existing primary access points both from Leesport Avenue and from Allentown Pike, and that those are not changing in any way as a result of this proposal. And in fact, there are no site proposed changes here. This is simply a infill of a tenant within the existing inline shopping centers. She would also confirm for you that you can see at tab 4 an Altus survey that's dated March of 2013, which confirms those various parking counts and total square footages that I just summarized for you. And that again, none of that is changing relative to this proposal. At tab 5 of the plan set, you will see an illustrative tenant plan, which does provide for you a bit more detail relative to this specific proposal. You can see on tab 5, a yellow highlighted area. It's approximately 22,600 square feet. That is the proposed location for the Planet Fitness gym. This is a relocation of Planet Fitness from its existing location to this center. So anybody who's familiar with that Planet Fitness will see very much the same operations here. That will, at the end of the day, leave approximately 10,000 square feet of vacant space. You can see sort of to the left on that illustrative plan that will be available either for relocation of existing tenants or for future tenants. There was previously a gym on this site for about 20 years, not in this specific location, but about 10,000, 11,000 square foot Bodyworks gym that operated from this site for about 20 years. So there has been a history of this type of use on this site previously. With respect to the operation itself, again, it's about a 22,600 square foot tenant space. Again, they are relocating, so this is very similar to their operations in their other location. They are 24 hours a day during the week. They have shorter weekend hours. There's no pool or dedicated class spaces at Planet Fitness, so there's not large influxes of individuals coming at one time for a class like there might be at some other gyms. They have typically between 2 and 4 employees a shift. So again, it's not a very high volume activity here. They also were able to provide, and Ms. Briganti would testify, that generally speaking for this Planet Fitness in its existing location and their expected relocation, their busiest times are generally Mondays and Tuesdays, and it tends to drop off as the week moves on. Most customers stay for about an hour. Their busiest times tend to be 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. during the weekdays, and then 9 to 11 a.m. weekday mornings is their sort of second primary period of time. Their online trackers show that they're usually at about 32% capacity. So these are not, again, they're not high traffic gym sites. Given Ms. Briganti's experience with the center, its other tenants, her longstanding relationship with the center, she would also testify for you that given all of those factors, there's no concern from the owner here that this would be in any way conflicting with any of the existing uses on site. And in fact, in many ways, it's very complementary. When Planet Fitness's hours are busy, tends to be when Soar and Bounce and some of the other sites or tenants on site are not as busy. So it's a nice sort of complementary use from their perspective. She would also note for you that historically, there really has never been a parking issue at this site. And in fact, that at tab 6, we have provided for you a series of illustrative historic aerials. In the upper left corner of each of those, you'll see the date of that aerial, so you can see when it was taken. And I think you can see generally as you tab through tab 6 there that parking has never really been a problem on this site, and there's no real concern generally now that there would be one. With respect to the specific objective criteria of the ordinance, there are certain criteria related to recreational land uses. It's a little funky because we fall into this recreational land use category, which really contemplates more outdoor kind of traditional recreational uses. This is a little different, so some of these don't apply, but certainly others do. So with respect to the objective criteria for a conditional use, the property must be at least 2 acres. This property, again, is more than 18 just in that shopping center component of the inline center. The Walmart is in addition to that. So as you can imagine, well north of the 2 acres required. This property is served by public sanitary sewage and public water facilities. The ordinance does require a minimum lot width of 150 feet for a recreational use. This, as you can, is confirmed by the Alta. This property is 770 feet in width along Leesport and over 1,000 feet east to west adjacent to Allentown Pike. So well north of the requirement in either direction. It also requires that any buildings related to the use sit more than 50 feet from all property lines and street rights of ways. Again, there are no proposed changes to this building, and it all sits well within those requirements. The existing means of ingress and egress, again, are not changing, and they are all at least 200 feet from associated intersections so that traffic can be accommodated in a safe and efficient manner. Trash is the only other real objective requirement for recreational uses, and it requires simply that to the extent that there is trash generated, that it be screened and not within 50 feet of the property line. Each individual tenant here has a commercial contract with a commercial trash hauler, so that all satisfies that requirement. There's no outdoor storage of trash for in unscreened areas, etc. In addition to that, I would note there is a requirement under the ordinance, the general sort of conditional use requirement related to a grading plan, a traffic impact study, and environmental impact assessment. And again, here, because there's no proposal to change anything on the existing site, we don't believe that those actually are applicable here. We're not modifying the site in any way. We're simply sort of inserting the Planet Fitness in there. With respect to the general code criteria, these are typically not the applicant's burden, but we'll go ahead and run through them since I know there's no public objection here or public parties. The board can certainly take judicial notice of your comprehensive plan, which does encourage rehabilitation, continued use and infill in your commercial corridors in order to continue to allow those to be vibrant. The shopping center is, we think, certainly suitable for the proposed gym use, and indeed historically, as I mentioned, there has been a gym at that site for more than 20 years. Additionally, I think any time that the code itself identifies a use of this type as a conditional use, that's an indication that the board has already made a determination that that is an appropriate type of use in this location. The property does meet all of the minimum and maximum dimensional requirements of the district. And again, there's no changes proposed there. It is a conditional use, so it is presumptively consistent with the general health, safety, and welfare, which is another just general requirement. Again, no material changes to the shopping center. So no concerns relative to traffic, fire safety, access, those types of things. Again, nothing's changing with respect to any of that. All existing pedestrian access points will remain as they are now, and no changes to the site. And to our knowledge, there have been no violations at the site relative to emergency services or any building code violations that would prevent the board from considering the application that is before you. So with that, through an awful lot of information in a very short amount of time, I'm gonna go ahead and call Andrea up. I'll ask her to confirm that, and then we're certainly happy to answer any questions you may have.
Please raise your right hand. We swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Can you, Andrea, just identify yourself, name and business address for the record, please?
Andrea Berganti, business address 271 Madison Avenue, New York, New York, 10016.
And I indicated earlier that you are the property manager for the North Reading Plaza, is that true?
Yes,
And you were standing here or sitting here, I suppose, this evening as I summarize the application and its impact on the center, is that right?
yes,
And had I called you individually to testify in a more traditional question and answer format, would my summary have been substantially the testimony that you would have provided?
yes,
Would you make any changes or alterations to that testimony?
No.
Would you otherwise adopt it as your own?
yes.
I don't have any further questions, certainly happy to answer any you have, and would like to ask the record as well.
Does the board have any questions? Does the board have any questions? I have one question. Is there gonna be any additional signage that's going to be erected on the property?
I would assume that they'll want a tenant sign on the building, but there's no other additional extraneous signage proposed beyond I think there's a pylon there existing that they would, put
Add to the existing?
Yeah, they'd probably add it to the existing, but there's nothing proposed that would require any additional relief.
That was the only question I had. Madam Chair, no more questions? Any other witnesses?
Nope, that's it.
And you have asked for your exhibits to be admitted?
Yes, please.
Does anyone have any objection to the packet of exhibits that were presented this evening from the applicant? Then we'll move those into the record. Do you have any opinion that you'd like to render in this matter?
No.
No one has become a party, so we don't have to deal with that. And after hearing nothing at this point, again, the board can reconvene if they'd like to discuss this privately, or there can be a motion made either denying or granting the conditional use application.
I'll move to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any of those opposed?
Thank you, everybody. We appreciate your time.
I will now turn it back over to Commissioner Scott.
Great. Thank you, Madam Solicitor, for your acknowledgments to those hearings. First, can you make a note about we did have an executive session, discuss the personal matters for minutes. We'll move on to the first public portion for taxpayers' comment on matters of concern, official action, or their deliberations before the board. We do have one sign in, Bill Sawyer. Bill, you're signing at 501 South Ferry Bridge Road. It's like that. Under the microphone and let us know what's on your mind.
Okay, your name is Bill Sawyer. I live at 5501 Stansbury Bridge Road in Muhlenberg Township. I have two questions for you. One is at Spinker and Stansbury, and you can well aware of it, it's the traffic there, trying to get through there sometimes. People coming down and have all the cars parked. Is that street wide enough?
I'm not an engineer, but I would imagine it because I know what you're saying, believe me.
Because because you're just parking on both sides of the street, you can't get two cars through there.
We can look at the land development plan and the width, but if it was designed to not have cars parked on the street, the developer would have had to post appropriate signage to do that.
Yeah,
We can look.
I'll let you know, Bill. I'm not sure, but yes, it is.
I mean, even that guy right behind you,
Yeah.
he always has his vehicle sitting right there in the bend.
Mhm. Okay.
All right, and the second thing I have is. Last month we tabled purchase trucks. And from what I understand, the trucks are already in the fleet. How can you do that?
I can't answer that.
No motion, they haven't been paid for. The motion hasn't been made to acquire them.
Why would they be in your fleet if you didn't pay for
Good question. The dealership handed them off already?
them? I don't believe it. Them,
You don't believe me?
No.
That's fine.
I don't,
I'm not.
I'm assuming they were paid for already.
I beg your pardon?
I'm sure Bob Fisher isn't gonna give you two trucks to use.
We have the check register. I can tell you that they haven't been paid for. But there's been no motion to approve the payment of that bill. As a matter of fact, it's on the agenda tonight.
Well, I know it's on the agenda tonight, and it was tabled last month, and I just wanna know why it would go through to get two trucks. If they ain't paid for it. Well, what would have happened if they would have been demolished? There'd have been an accident or whatever.
Can't speak to that. I can tell you that they haven't been paid for.
Okay,
I don't know. I know we tabled this for last month, but
Yes.
yeah.
all right,
What happened with delivery?
I just think it's a little underhand.
Did we, Jeremy, they just drop them off or did we go pick them up?
We tentatively did some paperwork on your decision. They were dropped off. We did not pay for them. We did not buy them yet. It is on the understanding, if they are approved, we will purchase them. If they're not, they will pick them back up.
Are they being used?
No,
They haven't been driven or taken out?
they said tax pay rate
I believe if I.
Well, the one has a plow on it. Was out.
in the mechanics pay right now. They have not done a single task for this township yet.
Yeah, I think it was pricing item. I recall. We got it.
Okay. Sounds a little underhanded to me.
Anyone else wish to speak under the first public portion? Right.
Gabrielle Olver, I'm your library director.
Yes, hi, welcome back.
Thank you. It's been 5 months since I was here last time. So I just wanted to tell you what's happening at the library, the wonderful things that are going on there. We had growth in 2025. We increased our circulation by 28%, and that's huge for us because our funding does in part come from circulation in the books that we circulate. In 2026, we developed some great relationships with our neighbors, the Muhlenberg School District. Every day they come in, the middle school kids, 4th, 5th, and 6th graders, and they check out books. It helps our circulation. That's wonderful. I developed an internship program at the high school as well. So I have a lovely young lady that is our intern right now. I have 3 high school students that we just recently hired as well. These are exceptional kids, really, really bright, 2 of which are running our STEM programs right now. And I have no doubt we are going to win awards this year for our STEM program. Thank you. You guys have great kids here. That school is wonderful. What a wonderful place to grab people from. I have a program also with the Youth Advocate. It's called the Youth Advocate Program. So this is a nonprofit. And these help students with disabilities. And I have a young lady in my library as well right now with this program. Anyway, thank you for funding us, thank you for your money, because it helps me do wonderful things like this with the kids in your community. And it's been wonderful, and I've had a great 5 months, so thank you, everyone,
Thank you, thanks for coming out. Thanks for all your work.
thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak under the first public portion? All right. Moving on. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Questions or comments on any items under the consent agenda?
I want to comment on police report. The chief provided us a year-end 2025 report, very extensive. We are outside of Reading, the busiest police department in the entire county. The chief put a number of examples in of some of the great work that our officers are doing. Just want to point out one item that really stuck out in my mind was Officer Hill was notified by neighbors of a resident who neighbors hadn't heard from for some time, and Officer Hill went to check on the resident. Saw newspapers hadn't been collected for some time, and actually entered the home and found the resident had fallen. And fortunately, he was able to be taken for medical care and is doing okay as far as I know. You know, it may seem like a small thing, but you know, these are the kind of things that our officers are doing all the time in our community, and I think it speaks well to their performance. It also speaks well to the residents of Muhlenberg that you know, we had a resident who actually had neighbors who cared enough to call in about her welfare. So just a shout out to the residents and to our police force in general. Thank you, Chief, for an extensive report.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. On to new business. Motion to approve payment of bills as presented by the Finance Director.
Move.
Second. Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the Township Manager to destroy records for the Record Retention Act. Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to certify the unpaid real estate taxes as prepared by the tax collector.
Motion. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2026-01 to appoint Jim Bovek as the primary and Josh Levingood as the alternate delegate on the executive committee of the Berks County Tax Collection Committee.
Motion. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes, if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the Public Works Superintendent to purchase 2 trucks from Bob Fisher Chevrolet in the amount of $119,757. Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments?
I'll just comment that, make sure that in future, we're not taking delivery of something until, I don't know all the data behind this, but, you know, it just does appear somewhat inappropriate that we hadn't voted to approve this yet, and yet we have 2 trucks somewhere sitting on our property that, you know, hadn't yet been authorized.
Just to play devil's advocate, it happens every day with people who take cars home that, I don't know the whole situation, I believe that that's something to do with year-end pricing, but I don't know, but. I mean, I think many people have had access to cars that they haven't purchased yet, just not making a mountain out of molehill. I understand Bill's concern.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's like there's some underhanded thing that we were like securing trucks without approval of the board.
No, I don't think that it's underhanded, but I do think that should something have had happened to them,
It would have been Bob Fisher's responsibility, I would imagine, because we didn't own the truck. So they're the ones that would have been liable for anything that would have happened. And I get into the insurance of the whole thing, but I mean, I just, you know, I create unnecessary drama because we probably could have taken the trucks and drove them around for 6 months until we paid for them. If we wanted to test them out as we would, let people do all the time. I understand the concern, but I don't believe it's as big a concern as that's my assumption was in your pricing.
That's correct.
Right? I think that was it. But that's my opinion too, so I appreciate your comments, Kevin. Did we go on?
I'll comment on this as well. So I met with Jeremy, Mike, I went over, I talked to the mechanics, we looked over the fleet. Jeremy has a 5-year plan for our fleet. Because, you know, as everybody knows, especially our 750s, some of the bigger trucks, they're gonna have to be rotated out at some point. So after talking with everybody, these are definitely necessary to replace, you know, the 2 trucks that are being replaced. They're rusted out, they were used and abused since 2008, so they need to be replaced. Jerry, you wanna touch on, you know, it's a 2500 and then a K 3500, so what are we?
Yeah, so one's a 1 ton, one's a 3/4 ton. The only difference, honestly, if you cab to cab, identical, same engines, same everything. One has heavier suspension. One is a utility body, which is tools on the side, which is replacing one that has bits on the side. The other is a pickup, which is replacing a pickup. They're both 2008s that they're replacing, which are 17 years old. And both trucks were purchased in 2008 without air conditioning.
Which we were trying to get for many years.
So they're very high mileage at the current state. Both trucks have had bodies put on them due to rusting out in the past. So now here we are again, we Band-Aided again on a 17-year-old truck.
And these are gonna be fleet trucks.
Yes, they're used every single day.
Thank you, Commissioner, thank you, Jeremy.
Yeah, and Jeremy, it's great that we're back in a rotational replacement period. And because I know in the past, the township had purchased
2008.
a lot of trucks at one
Hopefully.
time.
Right.
And we're all, you know, we don't need them all coming due at the same time, and I think we've gotten as much use out of these things as possible, and I thank you and your crew for being able to do that. Believe me, I'm not against purchasing new equipment, it's when necessary.
Thank you, Commissioner. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize Public Works Superintendent to put the 2026 road paving project down to bid.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Noes if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. I will make this motion. We did receive applications or requests from fellow board members who would occupy our vacancy board. So I will make a motion to appoint Fred Hatt, who currently serves on our Parks Board, to also be our vacancy board chair to serve the term expiring December 31st, 2026.
I'll second.
Questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. For item H, as many of you know, we are required by First Class Township Code to fill Commissioner Hoffmaster's vacancy for the rest of his term. That does expire December 31st, 2027. Per the First Class Township Code, we have 30 days since his date of passing. If we don't fulfill that request, we can inform the public what will happen next. We did take applications for the vacancy. So we did receive those, and all the commissioners have the opportunity to view all the applications that were received. So if we have a motion from anyone to appoint, we'll hear it at this time.
Okay, I'll go first. We had a number of applicants, and I took the opportunity to speak to all of them at some point, if not briefly in the last week, at least I've had the opportunity over the last couple of years. I know some of the applicants for a long time. Just to understand, why they wanted to serve out the rest of Commissioner Hoffmaster's term, what they can bring to the board. We all had a chance to review their qualifications. I was looking at a specific set of skills that I think someone should be able to have when they're coming to the board. Same types of things that I ask of any candidate running for office. I'm looking for leadership ability. I'm looking for emotional stability. I'm looking for financial, at least knowledge, not that anybody needs to be great on finances. I know I'm not fantastic on finances, but, somebody that understands checks and balances, and those types of things. In looking at that, I looked at the petitioners here, and I thought there was one candidate who stood out a little stronger than others. So I'm going to make a motion for Walt Lasoda to fill the commissioner vacancy.
We have a motion. I'll second that motion. Pretty much under some of the same reasons that Commissioner Lurch has indicated. I appreciate everyone who applied. You can always run in the next municipal election if you weren't selected. But that's why I am seconding the motion. So any further questions or comments before we take a roll call vote? All right, so we'll start out with Commissioner Cerulli.
No.
Commissioner Malinowski is a yes. Commissioner Lurch,
Yes.
Commissioner Merkel.
No.
That being said, the motion fails. Would anyone like to nominate another individual?
I'm gonna motion to appoint Nathan Lunsford.
Does anyone second that motion?
I do.
Second by Commissioner Merkel. Any questions or comments on that? I have nothing against Nathan. I won't be supporting him because I believe Walt is as a candidate that can jump right in and help the community. So just so people know why I'm voting not to support Nathan at this time. Honestly, I haven't really had an opportunity to get to know him and his experience and reasons why he's running for the board seat where I do know that and the proven track record of Mr. Lasoda. So just so everyone knows, that's why I'm gonna be voting in the negative. So any other questions or comments? Commissioner Cerulli?
Yes.
I'm a negative. Commissioner Lurch?
No.
Commissioner Merkel?
Yes.
All right. So would anyone like the motion to appoint any other candidates at this time? No?
No.
All right, so what will happen now? Nicole, if you'd like to explain the legal process and we will go from there.
So at this time, we are going to advertise to hold a special meeting. Needs to be within the next 15 days or 15 days from the expiration of the 30-day period. And that's when the vacancy board will convene and the vacancy board will nominate and see if they can fill the vacancy at that time.
While we're here, should we set that date? Or do we want to, do we wait till we talk to? I guess we should wait and advertise appropriately.
Right, and for a special meeting, it's 24-hour notice,
Okay, yeah.
so you can get it
Get
done.
everything scheduled.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Hatt, for volunteering to serve on the vacancy board. Moving on to item I, motion to adopt ordinance 629, amending the fire and property maintenance code.
So moved.
Jim, just high level overview.
The state every handful of years adopts the most recent revision. Steve, what year are we on, 2021?
Yeah, we're in 21, so,
So we're
yeah.
still about 4 years behind the industry standards, but we follow the state.
And now,
State's
same with the
adopted.
IBC.
Yeah, so the IBC will be adopted in January 1, which it was by the state, so any of our standalone codes here in township, I have dates, so we follow, so we're consistent with our numbers for our codes for 2021.
All right, thank you, Mr. Howell. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt ordinance 630, amending the International Building Code.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to adopt resolution 2026-02, entering into an agreement with Berks County to participate in the County UCC Board of Appeals.
So moved. Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to adopt resolution 2026-03, approving the sewage planning module for the Gardner subdivision, conditioned on all other applicable agency approvals.
Motion.
Second.
Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to reduce the 4536 of Franklin Road subdivision and land development bond, it should be bid bond, right? In the amount of $75,951.12, and hold the balance of $18,649.88 for an 18-month warranty period.
So.
Second.
Actually, it's being a performance bond, sure.
The maintenance bond, yeah.
Okay, all right. Any questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to grant the stormwater waiver request for the Gardner subdivision addition on SD's most recent review letter and reporting of deed restrictions on impacted parcels for the stormwater BMPs required.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments?
Can you?
Yep, this was originally a motion back in the October or November Board of Commissioners meeting. After the planning commission had made the recommendation, there were some concerns with the plan as it existed, mostly with the enforcement of the BMPs that were associated with the project. After several discussions with the developer, we came to terms that they would put deed restrictions on the individual parcels, which will help us from an enforcement perspective in managing the BMPs that are to be installed on those properties.
Jim and I got comfort in the conversation with the head of the development, Mr. Carino, who was very clear about our concerns and we meet them through the deed restriction.
Yeah.
Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to reaffirm the MTFR subdivision plan condition on SDE's review letter dated March 14, 2025, entitled the parcel being held by Muhlenberg Township.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to accept applicant's offer of a time extension for the Amazon 10-1002 Patriot Parkway Land Development Plan.
Motion. A second.
Any questions or comments? And this was just their attendance tonight.
That's correct. The plan was on the agenda for conditional plan approval at this evening's meeting, but because the applicant was not going to be eligible to attend, they asked to hold the March meeting, and so we had to ask for a time extension.
Gotcha. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Noes, if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to accept the applicant's offer to grant, same time extension for the 2139 North 13th Street Land Development Plan.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. You gotta hold on, but, motion to accept the fire civil service list as presented by the Civil Service Board.
Motion. Second.
Chief? Comments?
We have 8 applicants, 3 candidates on the civil service list. Obviously, the next thing on the agenda here is to, make offers of employment to 3. Joe, well, that means should be able to fill all 3 positions that we are open right now.
Awesome. Any further questions or comments for the chief? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. A motion to authorize the fire chief to extend conditional offers of employment to 3 candidates on the fire civil service list.
Motion.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, and so ordered. Motion to ratify the police chief disciplinary action regarding a police officer.
So moved.
Second.
Questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any. The ayes have it, so ordered. Motion to authorize the township manager to apply for the DCNR C2P2 grant funding.
So moved.
Second.
Jim, quick, high level.
Community Conservation Partnership Program grant by DCNR is a 50-50 match. It's how we funded the Laurel Run Park, or portion of the Laurel Run Park improvements that were done, that were just finished late last year. So generally the match comes from the Parks Development Fund.
Thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. The motion to authorize the township manager to apply for a PennDOT NTF grant to install battery backups at signal intersections in township.
Motion. Second.
Questions or comments?
Now, I'll comment, a couple of weeks ago, I was driving out to Fifth Street and the intersection with Bellevue, and the lights were out, and thank God it was early in the morning, because I can't imagine what a mess that would be. I mean, and I hope everybody knows that, driving code stipulates that if you come to a signalized intersection and the lights are not working, that you must come to a full stop, regardless whether or not there's a stop sign. Unfortunately, at most of our signal intersections, we have the foldable stop signs we can put up. But I can't imagine trying to drive through an intersection like that with signals out, expecting, okay, who's on the right first and who's going, and just, an officer, I believe, had just pulled up as I was, heading through the intersection, but, yeah.
Thank you. Commissioner, any further questions or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those if any, the ayes have it, so ordered. Any other new business? Jim, Commissioners, anything else?
No.
Board appointments, I think we covered that. Public portion, anyone else wish to speak? Mr. Lupia.
I just have a question regarding the certification of unpaid taxes. As a tax collector, all the tax collectors in Berks County, they actually decrease the amount of time we have to present that certification. They went from the 15th of January to the 12th of January. And they also require now that it be signed when you turn it in. So I'm having a problem now because the county offices are constantly calling me regarding our signed certification of uncollected tax. And they've actually already sent reminders out or notices out to the people who have unpaid 2025 taxes. So is there any way, and this is for the solicitor, Mr. Bobek and the board of commissioners, is there any way we can get that certification signed before the meeting in February, like sometime in January? I know we always have our reorganization meeting early in February. Is there any way we can expedite that?
It comes down to when you provide them, Pat. If you have them in time for the January 5th or whatever date the reorganization meeting is, I mean, they're signed now. So they're ready to go. I'll give them, I'll make copies and give them to you now,
But you gotta understand that New Year's is a holiday and I don't even get mail for people making December payments till I only have like 2 or 3 days to get everything together, close the month out. And by that time, you've already had your meeting, so
Well, that's on a reorganization year, but a normal year it would happen, but on a normal year, the third Monday of the month would be after the 12th anyway.
Okay, so you do normally have a meeting the third Monday of
Sure.
January.
The reorganization is the only, every 2 years, the reorganization meeting is the only time that First Class Township Code dictates that the meeting be held on the first Monday after, that is the holiday.
So in those years, then, is there any way it can be expedited?
Again, all that I need is the documents prior to the meeting to have on the agendas that the board can certify and execute. Again, I have them, they signed them tonight. It's just a matter of having them in time for a meeting to be able to do that.
Right, but with the reorganization was when this year?
January 5th.
Yeah, there's no way I could have had it done by then.
I think, Pat, if you remind us the next reorg, because we usually meet the third Monday, we can try to work something out, not to, to hit with the timeline. So just give us a reminder around November.
Yeah, that's all I'm asking.
Yeah.
Because I know they wanted it and they.
Sure, yeah.
So.
If you just give us a reminder, then we can,
They give you a reason for changing the date?
Well, for me, for the tax collector, it was only 3 days earlier, which is a lot, because if you have a large municipality,
Right.
you still get a lot of mailings at like the second, third, fourth of the year. And then you need a couple of days. There's other things too. There's a new director, there's a new county treasurer, there's, during COVID, we actually, revamped the whole system. So the county system is very modern now. As a matter of fact, if you look at the certification, everything's typed and printed in there. So the computerization has increased the time, that everyone gets everything done quicker.
Is there any penalty for missing their deadline?
Well, there's no penalty, but you gotta keep in mind that our bill comes with the county bill too, so it's their taxes they gotta collect on too. So, sure. I guess that's why they were calling, so. So I promised I would ask and see if I could do anything about it, so.
yeah, the next reorg, the next, in the 2 years, just let us know, and then
So
we'll,
every 2 years.
yeah, we reorganize. Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Appreciate that.
Any other comments under the semi public portion? Seeing none, we will go into staff comments. Who wants to go first? Mr. Bell?
Just like to thank all the residents out there that went to go to Muhlenberg app, with all the department regarding snow and snow violations. It led to well over 90 notices of violation, which also covered a multitude of rental units. The lack of snow removal. So we appreciate everybody involved, and it's a big help to our guys, our officers went out, took care of this. We found out. Thanks a lot. Kudos to the residents involved with. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Donovan, Joseph.
Nothing this month.
Nothing. Jeremy, anything else to add?
I can't get off with something, right?
Chief, one on the left. My left.
I just want to remind everybody that we are currently hiring, for police officers. The deadline for their pre-application is March 6th, with a testing date on March 7th. I don't know if the commissioners, were able to get through all the reports simply because of the busyness of the agenda. But, a few months ago, the board approved, associating the township, the school district, and a third-party company called Bus Patrol. And Officer Colella, so he's one of the SROs, he's stationed at the junior high, he's handling all violations. So just violations that he approves. So basically the process is Bus Patrol captures a video, a school bus for a red light violation on the bus. The video, pictures, license plate are sent to Officer Colella. He personally reviews that and then determines whether it's technically a violation or not. On just the ones that he has approved, since the inception of that program, there's been 169 violations that were certified of people passing school buses with their red lights activated. 169. And just in the month of January, there was 116 captured violations. So in addition to when we get that information, it pinpoints the exact location by GPS on the video. So we've basically instructed patrol to try and key in on all the major spots, because it seems like a lot of the violations are in the same area all the time. So we're also stationing patrol officers in those areas to stop them when it actually happens.
So that like an LPR built into it, is that what it does? So
It's video and then LPR.
can I ask a dumb question, because we hear it all the time, are the license plate people registered that live in our community?
So, yes.
So some, that's not the answer I wanted you. All right, I was just curious.
Yeah. It's amazing. I was personally, like, I know it happens. But when I saw those numbers, it was like, that's unacceptable. I mean,
Is there any communication that the school district can help provide, or have they to indicate this extreme safety concern that here is? Can they take some onus responsibility on it?
well, in part of identifying the locations where a lot of these violations are happening, the transportation department has looked at the bus stops to try and determine if, you know, moving the bus stop a block or so down the street would.
They tend to stop every block.
Right. But obviously, I mean, this was not a surprise, but a lot of the violations are on Route 61. And like the 3400 block-ish, just south of Clover Farms.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it's not a problem.
Right.
So I just wanted to point that out. That's pretty much all I have.
If you could just see it, yeah, sorry, they could issue some, I don't know how they communicate anymore. And the parent reminding them and telling them the statistics of what we're seeing, it's your kids, safety, you know, whatever we can do to help educate people this is happening. If they do anything, but just sitting here being quiet, there's someone gets hurt.
Right.
Isn't a good option, right?
Right.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah.
Chief, what the?
Your comments, in January, we had 150 calls for service, also following up, to the hiring conversation that we spoke about. Our goal, offers to go out this week at some point, projected start date somewhere around end of first quarter, beginning of second quarter. That's all I have.
Yes.
Planning Commission meeting tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. There is no new business. We do have unfinished business. The comp plan discussions continue. Actually, this month should be our last topic of discussion regarding transportation.
Thank you. All righty, Commissioner Merkel, you first, any comments time?
That's it.
Commissioner Cerulli.
I just want to say that I miss my buddy Rick, and he was a good commissioner. And he was a good friend. He's definitely gonna be missed. Otherwise, as liaison to the fire department, we got a bunch of good things going on. Chief, you're doing a great job. Looking forward to bringing on those 3 people, being at good staff. Public Works. Meeting with Mike and Jeremy, making sure everything's good. Those guys did a great job with the snowstorm that we just had. I'm sure not all the residents would say that, but I think they did a good job. So that's all I got. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Lurch.
Yeah, nobody can fill Rick Hopmaster's position in this township. He is very vested in residents and students. And, it's great that he was so invested in students because, that's where our future lies. We hosted a couple weeks ago, a number of students from Muhlenberg High School, in a sort of a minor civics lesson, as to how government works. Some of our department heads were here, Jim was here. And I participated, just to try to express how important it is for students to partake in local government, and especially when they're at an age where they're gonna be able to vote for the first time. And I think my quote to them was, you don't want a bunch of old guys sitting up here making decisions on your behalf, but they need to get involved. And it was nice to interact with them. The other thing is, it's a real weighty responsibility to be asked to fill a position on this board. we take very seriously representing the residents of the township. But to have to sit here and make a decision on who you're gonna put on the board, it is extremely difficult because, in my mind, that should always be up to the general public. And, I think we all, even though we didn't all agree tonight, I think we all did our due diligence in looking over the candidates and trying to do what American government is supposed to do, where we're supposed to represent the residents, but it's a very difficult decision to do. Fortunately, we are in a township where we have a board that, even when we disagree, we know that we're gonna still be able to work together, as opposed to some very dysfunctional municipalities. So I'm glad that we have the board that we do. And looking forward to making another difficult decision. That's all.
Thank you, Commissioner. Just a couple of things to reiterate what Commissioner Lurch said. I do wish at some point they would change the first class township code, that we wouldn't have to appoint someone when there is another municipal primary election coming up and a general election. I think there's plenty of time where the voters could have decided, but we're hamstrung by the code itself, which, as Commissioner Lurch puts us in an extremely tough position when you're making a decision that the general public and the electorate hasn't decided. So I do wish that our state, we should have asked Judy and Jackie when they were here to change that. So I mean, I just think it would be better off if the public decided who would fill that role and not us. I think that's the fairest thing to do. But I do, as Kevin said, I do appreciate this board and all their hard work. Also to Commissioner Rulli and Jeremy in Public Works. I thought that, we're always gonna have complaints, but they did a wonderful job staying on top of it. We always have some hiccups. I would ask, and already got calls. We had a rough winter with cold. There's gonna be streets that aren't gonna look like we just paved them, which is unfortunate when you have weather in Pennsylvania like we do. I asked them to hang with us and give us some time, when spring comes around, to identify real problem spots. One other exciting item on a positive note, thanks to meeting in consultation with the Parks and Rec Board. If you may or may not know, we are having our 175th anniversary in Muhlenberg Township this year, and our 10th year anniversary of our Riverfest celebration in August. This year on Friday, we are gonna celebrate that 175th anniversary, to have one local band called Mine Rush, and a bunch of bunks, along with celebrating with some fireworks on Friday night. We're also going to do some history stuff at the farmhouse, do whole things to celebrate Muhlenberg Township, and the two chiefs offer to do some things that can be centered around some youth activities. So we're pretty excited about that. We're proud of this community, proud of that park. Proud of all the work Karen that's been done in the past for that. So stay tuned. We're gonna do a lot of advertising for that. The one nice thing about the 175th, we've already secured sponsors to pay those bills for the 175th anniversary. So it won't be any cost to the Muhlenberg taxpayer. So I'll look for more information on that. Fred, unfortunately, I won't be at the next park meeting. I'll be traveling for work, but you can pass on our thanks to that. We'll start keeping that process moving along with the other numerous events we have with our parks and rec. So with that being said, just stay tuned for our special meeting of the vacancy board. When we can all get together, probably last all of 2 minutes. But you're welcome to join us if you'd like. So have a good evening, drive safe.